Good evening, good evening, good evening. And this is Good Friday again. This is your host, Carol, from a community conversation. Yes, thank you. Um, Good evening, as always. This is a community conversation. I'm your host, Carol, and I have a special guest, Miss Sharice Williams, but you know her on this show as Miss Sharice Lee Williams. She always reminds me she hasn't hyphenated. So she's going to be our special guest, and we're talking about some changes with the labor laws and things of that nature because you know she's an expert in that field. A HR specialist is how I first got to know Miss Sharice Lee. She was helping out over at the school board. I was the president, and she came on to assist us, and she did an amazing job. And ever since then, if I can get her ear to consult or ask her some questions, she's so wise. I try to squeeze her for all the juice I can get out of her. But I'm so glad she's here with us. Good evening, Miss Sharice, Attorney Sharice. How are you?
Good evening, Miss Carol. I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. And you got some stuff, some changes that you wanted to let us in. And we're also on 1420 Gospel. Oh, and I forgot to say this part. My name is Carol McIntosh. I'm running for your first ward city council seat. I am asking for your support, um, and I will do you proud. Follow the rules and work hard for my community, especially the first ward. But I love my city, and I'm hoping that you'll give me the opportunity to prove that to you. Okay, Miss Sharice Lee Williams, what are some of the things that you wanted to update us on? Because you were telling me a few things, and I found some of it to be interesting. So, what is it that you would like to share with us?
Right. So, thank you, Miss Carol, for having me on the show today. I did.
Uh oh, Miss Sharice.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Now I can hear you. You came
Okay.
back in.
My apologies. All right. So, I wanted to share some information that is very important for our community. It's going to affect lots of folks, but I just want to start out by saying that this is general legal education, not legal advice. So I'm just generally speaking about the changes that have been made. And if you're a business owner, some things you want to pay attention to. And so,
You went out again. Let's check your camera and mic. Miss Sharice, let me text
can
her and
you
let her
hear
know.
me?
Now you back with us. We ain't heard nothing you said.
Oh my goodness.
And now you just went out. What's going on with the phone, ma'am?
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not really sure, but can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, all right. So I'll start over. So the Corporate Transparency Act was recently passed, and just to spare you all a lot of the details, basically what this law means is that if you own a business, a LLC, any business that um, the financial arena is saying that is applicable under this law, such as a LLC, a corporation. There are lots of different rules for nonprofits, so you have to check compliance for nonprofits. But essentially, if you own a business, whether it's a side hustle or it's your actual business, you have to create a report, and that report is sent in to the government, and it tells who has ownership of the corporation. And this report must be filed by everyone who has a business. So even if you work a full-time job and you own an LLC on the side, so let's say you sell arts and crafts on the weekend, right? And you have an LLC for that. You are going to fall under the Corporate Transparency Act, meaning that you have an LLC or a corporation or another business entity that falls under this law. And you really should be reaching out to either legal counsel or someone who has helped you with your business advising to understand more about what the requirements are for your specific business. But I wanted to make sure that I share this information because the reporting requirement has already started. So if you have a LLC that was filed recently. I know during the pandemic, a lot of people started LLCs, and the side hustle was a big hustle and bustle. But there are requirements that you need to, complete, owning a business, and especially an LLC. So it used to be that you only had to do your annual reporting for the state in which you were incorporated. Now you need to also give the federal government information. So I'll stop right there. And just give you an
Okay.
opportunity to ask any questions that you may have.
Okay, and we're really gonna pick up some questions on the 810 news media group side. That's on Facebook and on what is the other one? Facebook and YouTube. 810 News Media Group, and you'll be able to see this or go back over the information on a community conversation. I'll post it to the Facebook page. So what this means to me is because Miss Sharice always has to reel me back in because y'all know how I am once my mind is made up. And what this tells me is they want to know about every dime. They want to know if you done sold lemonade in the park one Saturday afternoon. They want to keep a track over every dollar your hand touch. It sounds like the clampdown by the government, which we supposed to disclose our earnings anyway. So it sounds like they tightening up on that just a little bit. What you think about that, Ms. Sharice, Attorney Sharice? Uh-oh. Hello, Miss Sharice, Attorney Lee.
Can you hear me okay?
Now I can hear you. What did you
Okay.
just
So,
said?
yeah, so yes, I did. So, my apologies about that. I'm not sure what's happening, but I'm glad you can hear me now. So, what's important is that so you were talking about the government kind of being in your business, and I mean, this way they kind of are, but it's not so bad. I mean, they just want to know who are owners of the business, and so you could understand why that might be important, especially for financial crime. So the Corporate Transparency Act was enacted into law January 1st of 2021. Now, if we really think about what happened back in 2020, 2021, we had a lot of people claiming they had businesses, right? And were trying to get money related to that. So I do
Yeah.
believe that part of this is related to that they're trying to understand who has business ownership in these corporations. And then, if they know that you own a laundromat and you're, you know, money laundering, and then they also have you listed as a owner of a deli or of other things, it's easier for the government to understand money laundering. So I don't think that this is going to affect any law abiding citizens. You just need to file a report. There are, criminal penalties here. Again, this is just general legal advice, so I'm not going to go into the in depth. But I do recommend that anyone who does have a business go and make sure that you're covered. If it's a, depending on your entity, if it's a corporate type of entity, LLC, S corp, whatever it is, you need to understand whether or not you are required to report. Now, this mandate requires that domestic and foreign legal entities file a report with the division of the Department of Treasury called the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. It's short for FinCEN. So this, they FinCEN is going to regulate this. So it really is more so looking, financial crimes. The report is generally going to be about providing personal information about the entity's individual beneficial owners. So what that means is that anybody who has ownership stake in the business or is on the board members are also part of that. So the
Okay.
purpose of this law is to prevent corrupt actors, terrorists, and criminals from laundering money in the United States. So unfortunately, more paperwork for us, but definitely meant for a good purpose.
Okay. Okay. I could buy into that. And you need to know where where these nonprofits and things where how they spending their money and where they getting their money. Yeah, we got to clamp down, especially just so much is going on in the country. So we're on the 1420 side, about to wrap up. So you said this paperwork has to be filled out. How often, Attorney Lee,
So it's
Sharice
going
Lee Williams?
so it's
Hmm.
going to be annually that you have to fill this paperwork out, and you should
Okay.
be able to, if nothing has changed with your business, from what I understand and from the seminars that I have gone to. The lawyers who are experts in this area have said that you can get a reoccurring number and a fencing number, identification number for yourself, and you'll be able to just like, say for instance, you own the business, you're the sole business owner, you'll be able
Mm,
to go in, enter in the report, I'm a sole business owner, here's my information, how to contact me, and then you'll be done. So it's not going to be
okay.
some long drawn out, but they want everyone to do it. And you can imagine this is going to affect lots of Americans. So,
Yes.
everybody, like I said, a lot of people who didn't have a side hustle got one after about 2020. So, the requirements, it impacts those, business and legal entities. It changes really the obligations to disclose previously private information regarding ownership. You really used to have to dig to find out who owned the corporation. Well, not anymore, at least not for the government. They're going to know who is a part of this business. And then you can imagine what type of web that's going to create, where they can just click on a name and see where you come up in all these
See
different
who are
reports.
see who are clicking up and stilling together. That's what they finna see. But anyway,
Yeah.
look, I got to put a difference. She always comes from the legal standpoint. She's true to her craft. I'm telling you, because she don't even let me have no almost illegal. I can't even have no misdemeanor thoughts and share them with her. Okay, she's definitely kept me on the straight and narrow. So I just wanted to share that. I also wanted to tell everybody before we get off the 1420 side, the city has been hacked, in case you haven't heard. The city's computer system has been hacked or what have you. So
Oh, I
if you
didn't
have to
know
pay,
that. Wow.
yeah, a lot of people didn't know, but I'm gonna share with you. So some people aren't getting their emails. If you want to pay your water bill, you have to have cash only. They can't process any other way, from my understanding. So if you have to do any business with the city right now, you better keep your receipt when you go down there. Now they say they're not charging late fees, they're not turning off water and things of that nature. But I just wanted to share with you. So if you're making any complaints with your ombuds office or whatever, and they done fired the ombuds woman. Unbelievable what's going on with the city. Don't get me started on that. After a board unanimously voted for her, and then they didn't even really tell her you're supposed to have a performance conversation, and the person is supposed to decide if they want to discuss their employment in the open or privately. I don't think you're supposed to air that out publicly. And I'm not going to drag Miss Lee into that, Miss Sharice Lee, Attorney Sharice Lee Williams. But these are some of the things happening in your city on the 1420 side. We're getting ready to wrap up. It is 5:14. So on the 1420 side, Miss Sharice, would you like to say goodbye before I close out?
Sure. It's always a blessing to be on 1420. So praise God. I hope you guys are having a great weekend.
Yes. And this has been another Good Friday. I am your host of A Community Conversation, Carol. Attorney Sharice Lee Williams has been my special guest. I am running for your first ward city council seat, Carol McIntosh, for the first ward. I would appreciate your support. If I have your support and you speak to your neighbors who are not sure about which way to go, I would hope that you would give me your approval and persuade them to allow me to represent them. I promise you, I will work hard for my community and I will do the best that I can to make your life a little bit better. That is my commitment to the city as a whole, especially the first ward. I thank you so much for lending me your ear for this time. If you want to continue the community conversation, you can pick us up on 810 News Media Group on Facebook and YouTube. Until next week, love somebody and love yourself. We'll talk again. And rolling on the 810 side. So yeah, Miss Sharice, they didn't had a hacking down there. And so if you gotta pay some bills or something like that, you better have cash, and I would recommend that you keep up with your receipts closely, um, just in case. You never know. Y'all know how I feel about this technology. I just feel like technology has ruined the country because can't nobody do nothing without technology no more. Everything is, and technology has been good to us in some aspects, but I'm looking at how things are going on the job and how when these computers is so easily hacked, somebody always getting hacked. Genesis has been hacked. McLaren has been hacked. The city of Flint has been hacked. The banking institutions have been hacked. So I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, I'm concerned about that. So, Miss Sharice, how do you think that plays a part on the workforce? This all this hacking, and what's your perspective on that? What do you think a person say you working for these companies or whatever these big, or you doing business with the big wig companies and they get hacked? What what what's the process? What should you do? Are you a sitting duck? I mean, I know they send you out the paperwork. We done been hacked. You may have been exposed. I think we might be the lost Miss Sharisa again.
No, I'm here.
Okay, what do you think? What how we? I mean, what we gonna do about this? And don't what do you think from a HR labor relations perspective, how do you think these computers are really affecting our performance? Because it's like we can't do anything now without the computer. I mean, look at how the planes had to shut down because the computer system was hacked. I mean,
Well, I mean, you can look at it from two sides, right? One side is that technology is definitely very helpful, when it comes to providing speed and efficiency for some tasks, especially tasks that are repetitive. However, I do understand, from the perspective of we can't, not being able to work. I am familiar, with at least, some employees that have been affected by some of these hacks. And I will say that, it kind of just leaves you in limbo. Like, how can I add value, right? When all of our processes have been, um, you know, electronicized, right? So I think it's always smart to have a process outside of and records, right? Outside
right.
of being hacked. Like there's no reason, especially as we're all on notice, right? That one day you
Yeah.
could potentially try to go to your computer and not be able to access anything. And so I think it's really important to as a company, right, to be honest with yourself and say, and do an assessment and say, okay, where are we weak, right? And even if we don't think we're weak, this is what we need to do to make sure we're protecting our customers and our employees. And, if you're a business owner, you definitely want to, you can actually, pay for protection. That will cover you in the event of a situation like this. But I think it's
Mhm.
even smarter to be prepared, right? And so I think preparation looks like having a paper backup, maybe not all of your files, but
Yeah.
some of the essential ones, right? Or just essential like backups on other modems, right? That are not connected to your actual um,
System.
system, right? And you have another system that's ready to go. I definitely think that unfortunately, as we get smarter and as we use technology, you always have people who have, mindsets that are basically criminal and they're going to try to figure out how to, scam. And when we look at kind of criminal activity over time, scamming has been like kind of identity theft. Those things have been the top kind of crimes that have been committed that are, they say they're quote unquote victimless crimes, but they're not, right? I mean,
Right.
people, you get
Right.
your identity stolen. it's a big deal, right? You have to try
Mhm.
to. That happened to one of my family members one time, and they looked at their credit score, and they had all types of loans and things in their name that they
Oh, Lord.
that they didn't do. And so luckily, I was able to help them and write letters to the credit bureaus and explain and, take the police report. But it was very time consuming. And it just so happened that my family member that it happened to, they were out of the country when this happened. So,
Oh, man.
thankfully they had a lawyer in their family to be able to go on their behalf and say, hey, this needs to be fixed. But not everybody has that access. So, I think it's very important to protect yourself, especially as a consumer. When you're utilizing, if you think about it now, I think about my last couple purchases, they all were online, right? Some
Mhm.
of them even overseas. And so using, um, using different types of apps like PayPal, right? It'll allow you to put in your information, but it'll hide your actual information. So it's less likely that someone will steal your information. So just adding another level of security is smart, I think.
I remember back in the day, and I know you probably can't remember this because you much younger than I am. But back in the day, credit cards used to have the indentation. The numbers would be indented, embedded in the card, and then you used to put it in the card machine, and then they had a carbon paper with it'd be two or three pieces of paper with a carbon between them, and then they have to slide it, chick chick, and then they make a copy. Man, it was so prehistoric. But hey, but then people started printing cards, they own cards. So I don't care what technology does. Like you said, the people that's their job to fraud the system. They gonna be up on it. So I'm with you. We gotta have. I mean, because the planes is shut down. This is shut down. I mean, I just can't hardly take all this technology. The kids. You take their phones. Some kids you done heard reports of them beating their parents to death, and they go crazy over these phones. You better not take that phone, or you might have to. It's awful. I mean, we all are all addicted to the phone. Though this technology has got way out of hand to the point where kids. Well, I mean, I guess the kids can't play outside because they'll come up missing. But the kids don't even go outside no more. I done talked about that. I don't have no. I'm so concerned about which way we going in this country, in the world, with this technology. I so miss the days when your paycheck came by way of Pony Express. You know, I
Nah, I
had a
don't miss
job.
that, Miss Carol. I like getting my check direct deposit.
Well, yeah, I like Pony Express had its downfalls because I remember I couldn't get paid one time when I was in college because Pony Express hadn't came through. That's what made me think about Pony. And you right, hitting that button and having my check. That is one of the nicer parts about technology. But at the same time, what happens when they hit the button? I mean, just it's always something. The fraud, the elder abuse, the calls that come on the phone because people can buy your information and tricking your grandparents out their life savings. Because we all gonna get old one day if we live long enough. I'm just really concerned. So anyway, and I think also, and then we can move on. And I think also this technology is hurting us uh, because that is why a lot of our young people don't look at work and jobs the way we do. The way my generation looked at. I mean, what you 20 plus years old and you ain't got no. I mean, if you went to Arby's or McDonald's, you're supposed to have a job. Now you got to get a job. Now and then I remember back in the day, the players and pimps, this before your time, and they used to say, the working man, the working man was a fool or whatever. So, it wasn't cool to work. And so now I think we just going back and forth because now these kids, but then they can make money hitting the button. They can get online and work from home and I just can't get with it. I just don't want to live on a computer. But I know you works that computer too, Miss B. What you think about that, Miss Sharice? Do you think that's hurting us why these young folks won't come to work? Because I know on my job in the factory, they come in the morning time and some of them could go out for lunch and don't never come back.
So I think work fatigue is probably a lot more common on the computer, especially if you have a job where you have to work at the computer 8, 9, 10 hours a day. I mean, you can get lost in it just like you get lost on social media. If you're scrolling, you can get lost in work and be sitting at the computer and haven't taken a lunch, haven't taken a break, right? So I do think from an ergonomic perspective, regardless if you're working in the factory or if you're working at a computer or a desk, we have to make sure that we just take time to take breaks, and then
Uh,
also whatever we're doing, do it to the best of our ability. And so I don't want to start preaching to the choir, but I do think that you know whatever work that our hands find to do, we should do it to the best of our ability, and we also should do it cheerfully. Because one, what's the purpose of being miserable every day if you have to go get this money? You have to try to find some, whether it's your coworkers, right? It may not be the work, but it might be the people you work with, or it may be the work that you're doing, knowing that you making sure that the safety component on the engine is working is going to save lives. So whatever it is that you find in order to put a positive half glass half full on it is my recommendation. Because if you begin to focus on the negative about all of these things that are happening, you will have a mental breakdown. I mean, they're
yeah.
just so, you can have your pick of things that are just not going right, whether it's in our country, whether it's overseas. I mean, you can just point around the globe. Everybody's having issues and problems. And so, I think we have to, and I agree with what you said, from a technology perspective, we overuse it. We rely on it so much. I mean, I was watching a show earlier today, and it's not funny, but they were asking people simple third grade questions and they could not answer them. And I mean, because our innate response now is to Google it. And so
Yeah.
we don't store information to ourselves like we normally would. You normally would know your parents' phone number by heart, but now you depend on your
Mhm.
phone to know those things for you. So, and then if you don't have that phone, you are shot. Okay. So
And
we,
when I leave my
yeah,
phone at home and go to work, ooh, that'd be a rough day. I left my earbuds today. That was bad. I had the phone but no earbuds because we ain't supposed to be on our phones on our jobs. But leaving the phone totally, OMG. Ugh,
right. So
I
those
just,
are ways that it helps you, have a better experience at work. But I do think that we are extremely dependent on social media. And I mean, to the point, I can share my own story. I got off Facebook because I just felt like I was spending entirely too much time on social media and not enough time on just enjoying
living
life
your
and
life for
living
real.
in the moment, just
Yes.
not wanting to miss anything, not wanting. And I will say Facebook was a helpful calendar. It would give you a reminder about a birthday party. I'd have missed a couple birthdays not being on
Um,
Facebook. But typically, it makes me be more conscientious. I have to put your birthday in my phone or in my planner. Typically I write everything down and I try to, um, be conscientious about what I'm doing and not depending on, something to remind me, because you never know if your phone will break or do anything like that. So I try to keep my calendar. And every year that we get older, hopefully you get wiser, right? That's not always the case, but hopefully you do. And I think for myself, I've just been trying to have a healthy balance between technology and how much time that I'm spending, socializing with, people around the world, and then how much time I'm making sure to spend in real life with my family and my friends. Because I think sometimes we can replace those actual personal relationships with, social media kind of postings. Okay, I'm keeping up with you online, but I'm not really, having a real intimate and relationship with you. So I think that my
mhm.
relationships have gotten deeper. I have to call people and give them news. I have to, call people to get news of how they're doing. And I think that
Right.
makes me interact with the people that I love more.
Absolutely. Because I don't like, because my nieces and my little friend, he get to want to talk text message for an hour. No, you could have been to call me. We could have been to say what we got to say and then got off this phone. I don't do that. Well, not my friend no more, but anyway. Everybody, even my nieces, they want to text. They don't know, call me on the phone. I don't want, if you want to say like, if you picking me up from the airport, what door you at or something like that, something brief. If I'm at the window of the taco shack, what you want, on your burrito or something. But this just whole life, people are really in. I don't understand that the romantic technology dating. I am so not the one to slide in their DMs because my thought is this: old as I am, I can't hardly pick a good man looking at him. Well, I guess I could if it was more laying around. They scarce. But I'm like, I'm not fenced to take a chance on picking nobody up on the computer that I can't vet. I can't look you in your eyes when I ask you these questions. Now, I can't even hear your voice when I ask you these questions to check the tone in your voice.
Well,
We
you don't have
online.
to continue talking to them on the internet. You can
I
always
mean, I'm just saying
meet
some
them in
people do
person.
that though. Some people do that. You hear about these women, and then you don't know if when you meet him in person, and he might be a serial killer. Because my luck on the risk taking just ain't that good. So now, for some people, they done found love and it work out for them. Some people live their whole life on the computer, like I already told them. Folks, I got friend girls at work. I gotta go pick my groceries up. They gonna be waiting for me. I like to touch my produce. I like to see if it's any spots where the worms was on my apples. I like to make sure that, you know, my bananas ain't overripe. I like to see my stuff. I check the date on the milk when I go to the grocery store to buy the milk. I check the date because if it's been expired, I drink milk slow. Ain't no need me getting this. It's gonna go bad. So I'm just not with the whole push the button, order the groceries and stuff. But my friends at work, honey, they think they be doing something. Yeah, I'm finna pick these groceries up, and and I gotta see my. I want to see all the roast and pick the cutest one, the one that look the best, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's where we at. The cars is driving themselves, so I don't know what I'm gonna
You're gonna adapt like you've been adapting.
do.
You
I'm
got a
so sorry.
phone, you got headphones, beats. You right on in the technology swing of it like everybody else.
I'm so mad about it. You hear me? I got an attitude about it. But I guess that you right. Ain't nothing I can do about it. This train is taking off, honey. But let me say this because I'm down in it. But this is nice because I used to be sliding up in the studio right before 5 o'clock on one wheel with one shoe in my hand, skipping on the other foot, trying to get in there. And I also want to, before while it's on my mind. So so this being able to not have to do that, not have to burn the gas or get into the hustle and the bustle, the one shoe on and all that, and I could just wherever I choose in my home sit down and do this. I gotta give it up. I kind of like that. I the rest of it kind of gets on my nerves. And I'm turning into a little Facebook junkie, but I'm sick of that too. Because you're right, I'm spending too much time on the Facebook. Okay, it's getting on my nerves. But I think we ain't using technology right because we should be using technology to solve more crimes, to save more lives, to build homes cheaper. It seemed like, but it's like the technology, even with that implemented in the cutting of jobs, the prices are just going through the roof. So I feel some kind of way. Maybe I'll come around. Miss Sharice always have these conversations with me, y'all. I be down and she be, no, Miss Carol, you gotta trust in the Lord, and she be right. So I kind of listen to her. She's wise counsel to be so young. It was something else. Oh, the Kamala Harris event that they had yesterday at Soothing Tunes. Can't say enough about it. And I'm so terrible because I usually don't drink. I don't drink. I'm not a drinker. Every now and then at dinner, I'll have a cocktail. So anyway, here's the deal. Get over there. Soothing Tunes is like a little jazz restaurant slash bar. So bar slash restaurant rather. But anyway, long story short, so we get there and we got our highlighted speakers and oh, this one lady. And it's a shame because I don't never know nobody's name. I don't never had the details down pat to be doing this type of stuff. But anyway, she did a spoken word, phenomenal poem. And also Pam Pugh was there and spoke, along with Mayor Weaver. She's still my mayor. Mayor Weaver and a few others spoke. But anyway, they did a good job. Those ladies are great speakers as well. But the highlight, honey, was the free meal. Okay. And you got a free cocktail, one free cocktail and a free meal. And when I say everything on that buffet, because it was kind of like a buffet style. But anyway, long story short, the chicken, the fish, the yams, the spaghetti salad, the macaroni and cheese, the string, I mean, everything was just top notch, slapping on. So I wanted to give them a shout out because, man, I hooked, I should have been embarrassed, but my plate was, it was good. It was good. So it
Was
was a
it
wonderful
catered
event.
there?
It wasn't uncomfortably packed, but it was a full house. Most of the tables, all of the tables were full that were reserved for this event from what I saw. We did take a group picture. Everybody was taking, and I sat at the table with some ladies, and of course I don't know their names because I was drinking. I can't remember hardly no details except for the food was good. And I had a great time. Okay. Um, Everybody was just so nice and so amped up because, like I said, we're excited about the Kamala Harris running for president thing. We've already won. I mean, the pride in the room, um, the level of integrity and class that was in the place because it was a very classy crowd. Um, Strong women, okay, community people that are definitely involved. So anyway, it was all that. So I just wanted to put that out there. I don't know. I know Mayor Weaver was one of the speakers, and I know she actually no, I take it back. Miss Kroon and had me call the young lady who was one of the people over it, setting me up, and so I did what I was supposed to do to get on the little guest list or whatever and ended up there. But also Mayor Weaver had invited me after Miss Kroon. But those ladies, they know how to pick a party, honey. They know how to pick a gathering. That's all I want to. And don't forget that we're voting for Kamala Harris on November 5th. She's fighting for women's rights as far as reproductive rights. That's important because people that don't have anything to do with the process of reproducing other than the 5-10 minutes of fun want to tell you, even if your life is on the line, what decisions should be made. And one thing I know about most men, especially when it comes to politics, they put themselves first. Okay, them, the average man, they so different from women. We be, you know, but not all men, so I ain't gonna take it there. But anyway, it was a nice event. And Miss Sharice, I hate you missed it because I think you would have enjoyed it. But
It sounds like it was good, even if I just
it,
would have enjoyed the food alone.
man, that food was slapping, okay, baby? That food was slapping. I mean, everything. The peach cobbler was rave reviews. They had banana pudding,
Oh
cookies.
wow!
Girl, they had a nice little spread
I'm
salad.
glad I missed it. I can't afford no more pounds now.
Man, let me tell you something. Ever since I, and it's a shame, I was knocking doors, because me and you knocked doors a few times to get, or at least once or twice. But anyway, we was out there knocking doors. But
Mm,
ever since I have been campaigning, I have gained 17 pounds.
wow.
I'm finna quit fooling with some of these council people and political people because they like to eat too much. They talk about the pastors. Well, this crowd is just like them. Y'all ain't gonna blow me up and have me out here looking like hungry, hungry hippo. Cause I ain't cute. Some people can hold their weight and look good and face still be cute. And, even though they chunky, their body is shapely. So not me. I turn into like I be looking like the moon. I just be round. Or my little face be looking like a little pie. And all you can see is my little nose. I be so fat. That ain't cute. And I can't do it. Y'all ain't gonna bring me down like that. That skirt I had on
Like
yesterday,
me.
girl, I was scared. I told them ladies I was sitting with, I said, I feel like Buddy Love and Professor Clump. I keep on eating this bun gonna pop off and probably knock everybody in the room out. That skirt was screaming, girl, but I ain't hold back on them. You know how I ain't do the little shy girl thing. I got it in. And let me tell you, it was so good. Them wasn't nobody shamed to go up there and get seconds. They was running up there to get them little seconds. The people that act shy, and you know how
So
you
who
don't know if
cooked
the
the
food gonna be
food? Was
good.
it Soothing Tunes? Like they cooked the food?
And it's a shame. I'm so pathetic. But yes, the restaurant inside of Soothing Tunes, they have the restaurant, and then the club owners, I guess, have the bar. Or whoever has the bar. But one part, these people have the kitchen, and somebody else is doing the bar. But let me tell you something. That drink I had was slapping. It was on everything.
So
Everything
just
was
all
good.
around good there.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You know, it wasn't no bad vibes. It wasn't no incident happen. One person acted idiot. It wasn't none of that. Everybody was cool. Everybody, from what I could see, had a good time. It was nicely organized. The food
Mm-hmm.
was wonderful. The atmosphere was great. So I'm hoping that the Kamala Harris president, Vice President Kamala Harris's functions continue to be as elegant, because it is a true um, depiction of the best of us.
Well, that's
That
awesome.
was,
I'm glad it went well.
yes, it did. It was a true depiction of the best of us as Black women: intelligent, strong, kind, the sisterhood, the food, the mingling, the topics, the ambition. It was all there. It was all on point. So I wanted to say that, and I'm not gonna spend any more time with that. We better move on. Miss Sharice, is there anything you want to fill us in on?
I'm trying to think. I mean, we talked about the political, somewhat about the election, and you talked about the election day being November 5th. I guess the only other thing I would add today is just to, remember to pray for those, overseas, dealing with the wars that are going on, Ukraine. You have lots of turmoil going on overseas, right? And so we have to remember, our fellow humans that are overseas, that are experiencing that. Because I can imagine, we're concerned about the things that are going on over here, inflation, and, can I buy a house? Can I do these things? But I mean, they are, just trying to stay safe and stay alive. So, especially, my thoughts and prayers go out to all of those different countries that have been, in conflict. Especially the last couple of years, and that's just been a lot of them. Ukraine, Russia, Israel. You have so many that are now getting involved, like Iran, and I know the UN has been attempting to have some peace talks this week. Hope they go good. I know Hamas is. They said they weren't going to participate, but they would have someone who would, take a call to listen to what was going on. So I'm hoping that they can come to a ceasefire and attempt to, really just have peace, right?
Right.
That's been something that's been on my mind because it's been going on for so long, and it's really out of sight, out of mind sometimes when you're not
It
dealing with
is.
it directly, right? But I remember when the Ukraine war first started, um, they were showing all types of people fleeing and trying to come to America and trying to come to different countries, and just the danger and what type of feeling that could invoke, right? Just being unsure, having to leave your home, having to leave all your assets behind in order to be safe. And
Yes.
haven't really experienced anything like that, at least not in my lifetime. So it's definitely been something on my mind and something we should continue to pray about.
You know what? I've been needing to enter the studio all this time. I don't see nothing in chat. Is we even call only the host can see you? It says you page only the host can see you. Host may add to the stage anytime you're ready. What is all this time? I ain't even on. Ah, this getting worse and worse. Now, it
It
ain't
says you're live.
I know it's live, but where's the chat? So we ain't got nobody listening to today, not one person. Because I was gonna put the phone number there. What about
I see
a
people
slice
commenting
of sweet
on
potato
the
pie?
chat. Yeah.
Fight for the truth and all be revealed. Every person know what the truth is, then they're not a part of it. Okay, I can buy it. That's true. But you know, a lot is what did happen?
We're still here.
Something jumped up. I don't know what this is, girl.
You still on here, Carol?
Oh, okay, because something else that came up on my thing. The easiest way to live stream. I'm scared to push the button because y'all know I don't know what I be doing. But anyway, it is a lot going on. It is a lot going on, and it's sad that the whole world seems to be in conflict. And I'm like, how will we ever get things solved if everybody is just, like what happened in Russia, the guy that opposed their leader came up dead in prison. I mean, it's just so much criminality going on. And I just that's another reason I like to talk to attorney Miss Sharice, because she's a very positive person. Because I'll be like, oh my Lord. Although I'm a believer and God says if you're believing in him, then you're no longer worrying about it. He didn't say it just like that. But that's what it comes down to. If you're worrying about it, then you really haven't turned it over to him. And so I try to let that thing go, but I just can't help but be concerned for all. What are we becoming? You got who was that? They just found out that some company was siding with terrorists for something. And I can't remember who the company was because we talked about it on here. But it's just like anything goes, and there's no accountability for all this crime. And it's like okay. And back to public local politics. Miss Billy Dansler has a situation going, and they're having a special meeting to throw her off, and they threw me off. And it talks about people don't even live in the ward or sitting in seats. And they're saying she did something to the cameraman, but this cameraman has cussed 80-some-year-old ladies out, called them bees and this and that. Just, it's like, and another thing, well, you can do anything to a woman, seems like. It's like we're losing ourselves, our dignity, our integrity, decency. And I'm just wondering, I hope it don't get no worse. Let me say that. I hope it don't get no worse. We have got to do better.
No, I agree with you, and I think it starts at home. I mean, a lot of a lot of behaviors that we see, especially in our community, can be attributed to just basic lack of home training. And a lot of times when you're not not even that, just not receiving love at home, right? Not having two parents that care and are worried about what you're doing. I know when I was younger,
Device may be
uh,
compromised. Update
my
should.
my parents really were like, they want my mom wanted to know what I was doing.
At
There was
all
ifs
times.
and buts about it. And if the street
Right.
light came on and I wasn't in front of that house,
Shh.
there were
It's the
rules. And
problem.
there were rules that I had to abide by, or there were going to be consequences. And I think what we're seeing now is, children really haven't had to, and now who are turning into adults have not had to be accountable. And a lack of accountability is really, what we're dealing with. And, that can take root in so many different areas and places.
Yeah. But well, I just don't know if, yeah, you're right. Everything you said is true. But we're talking about grown people that's been raised sometime. We're talking about people who should definitely know better. I want to hit this button so bad. I'm scared. Okay, there y'all go over here. Y'all just showed up. And you said y'all can see me, right? Oh, there you go. Anyway, but I just I get the blast when I think about what we're faced with, what's going downtown, what's going on around the world, how people are just doing what they want to do, wide open, even if it's illegal. Some of the things that we're faced with. Um, and I'd like to also say before our time is up, thank you for all our people that tuned in because I don't know what's going on with my screen today. I can't see anything but the StreamYard advertisements, and I'm scared to hit them because I don't want to click off on you guys. But I am concerned about the direction that we will be taking and what stances um, the country is going to take come November. We got a lot of crazy people who, and I guess it's up to you. It's your choice. That's what makes this country so wonderful. The democracy, the opportunity to decide for yourself. However, we got a mad person that's running against our sister Vice President Kamala Harris, and this guy, they asked him some questions the other day, and he didn't answer not one question. He went off to talk about how she laughed and, just to try to tear her down. And the troubling thing about this is some people in this country think he's qualified to be a leader when he spends all his time personally attacking people, not their record, not their politics, them personally, talking about disabled people, people, that have special needs, and he has a special need child. So that tells you when somebody is like that, then if they don't have compassion for a situation that their own children are in, how can we trust them to have compassion for us as a nation? But you got people that are willing to take a chance on that. And I think that's how we got here in the first place, taking a chance on folks.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I know when Donald Trump was first elected, I was actually working in a federal courtroom, and I would never forget the federal judge that was there because I was younger and I was just kind of shocked, and he was like, "Well, we've lived through other presidents that we hadn't wanted." He was much older, but I thought about that, and I thought about the way in which people acted after he was elected. And that is really what concerned me because it's almost like they have emboldened this
Mm,
rhetoric, from, and I won't say it was completely gone. We know it wasn't completely gone, but the rhetoric surrounding his campaign and presidency, his cabinet has been,
yes.
far, 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 far conservative, almost to the point of, you know, just being um not inclusive, right? And it's just it's like they don't outright say it, but it lets you know um that they're talking to a subset of people. They're not talking to everyone in America. And I think that's concerning when you're a leader of what we consider to be the free world, and that we have respect for other people's choices, their religions, their way that they want to live their life. And we've said that we founded this country on being free from religious um, oppression. And then to turn around and begin to spew this rhetoric that is really dangerous, in my opinion. And I'll be more specific, that it's just making it seem like being a conservative is synonymous with being you know a person who is not
Think
inclusive.
irrational, just so
Right,
liberal,
yeah,
don't
that's
have no values,
not every person who's a Democratic, who votes democratically
Right.
or is an independent and or Republican. Not all of them are going to be considered to be um, you know a leftist or centrist, or like they're you're going to have a mixed bag of people
Are
who vote
different.
a certain way.
Yeah.
And so you do have people in the Democratic Party who don't want corruption. That's not a sole thing that only Republicans want. You have Democrats, moderates, independents, however you want to, list yourself, who want the government to be free from corruption. But I think now that, and I'm pivoting a little bit here, but I think now that it costs so much money to be a part of a political race. I mean, we've seen it with
Hmm.
previous races. I can't remember her name. She just previously lost on the East Coast her seat, but her race, she was in Congress. Her race was millions of dollars. That is unbelievable money. That has to let you know that this, people don't spend millions of dollars on nothing. That has to let you know that this is big business, political,
It
and
is.
that's exactly what it's turning into. The government was never meant to be another business entity, and I'm afraid with former President Donald Trump, he's turning it into big business. Government was meant to be compassionate, to help, and to regulate. And when you have people in business, of course they want less regulations, but we need those regulations because apparently if we don't tell you not to put dangerous things in our food, you're going to do it, which is
Right. So
crazy.
sad, which is so
It's just
sad.
sad, but people want to make money so bad that they're willing to
Man.
kill us at the expense of showing profitable numbers.
And the government will let them to get
Well,
them a few of those tools infused.
the
And that's
problem is
what's
it
the killing
depends,
part.
it depends on who's in charge in government.
Yeah, but it shouldn't. I mean, we should all not want the country to be getting poisoned. I mean, it's just the whole kid and caboodle. It's just. But anyway, I'm a toughen up. I'm gonna get it together. But and then it's probably these 7 days I've been working. Because when I'm turned into a grouch and ooh, I be just down in the dumps. I be tired. But anyway, been being productive. So you be exhausted when you're going hard in the paint. But it's just. Oh, and I just want to also say to my Black History Committee at Local 659, we lost our brother Brock. He passed on. His funeral, to my understanding, is tomorrow. So I definitely want to give condolences to his family and friends and the Black History Committee. We lost a strong, solid brother. So we will definitely miss him. Um, so it is 5:58, Miss Sharice. Is there any last um, things you'd like to say before I wrap up?
I would just like to say thanks for having me on. It was a good conversation, and I am just grateful that you asked me to come on your show today. And I would also like to say that I definitely am supporting you and endorsing you for First Ward Council. I know you to be a light in the community, and I'm very excited that you put yourself out there to be a candidate for First Ward. So I truly know that you're a servant and a person who is for the people, and that's what we need, especially in Flint. And I would just say also that I appreciate you, saying the tough things that need to be said. Sometimes, we people just in general have a tendency to shy away from things or saying things that are not going to be popular. But you always stand up and let it be known, your opinion, and whether something is right or wrong. And I appreciate that about you. I think that we need more people like that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And again, it has been thank you for coming, Miss Sharice, because I just got to be honest. I'm a fan. Quit reading self-published garbage penned by poorly educated. I don't know who this Jessica Stewart is, but you can quit sending these messages talking about quit doing something because we're gonna do what we want to do on this podcast. We are for the people, and we see what is happening to our people. I don't get my stuff from any political propaganda, honey. I live it. Thank you for viewing. Also, thank you, Miss Sharice, for coming. We appreciate you. Your wisdom is always appreciated. For all those that have um, tuned in with us today, participated in the chat, listen to us on 1420 AM, watch us or tune in on Facebook or YouTube. We are glad to have you. Keep tuning in. We need you. You keep us going, and you are the reason we keep getting out here, putting ourselves in the line of fire to bring these conversations to you. This is a community conversation. Take these concerns back to your dinner table. Talk to your family about it. Your young people, because life is not going to stop. They are going to be faced with some of the same issues we are faced with. Have those tough conversations. Have those open conversations. Don't be afraid to not. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, then, ma'am. I didn't mean to do you like that. Then I apologize, Miss Jessica. I'm apologizing to Miss Jessica. She said she wasn't talking about because you be ready, you get to talk about them politics and it goes left. So I do apologize to you, ma'am, for that. But I just want to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you, all who support us. Thank Mr. Mickey Jordan for doing what he does. Thank Miss Sharice for coming, and thank you for what you do for us, Miss Sharice, because you know you have helped this community up in some tough times. Stay politically inclined. I have a T-shirt that I will be posting to you. Um, and I hope you will tune in and purchase one. We'll have that set up for you next week. Until we see you again, this has been a good Friday, and this has been a community conversation. Um, Okay, I'm sorry then, y'all. Look, they let me know. Look, cause I go there. I'm sorry, Miss Jessica. Then I done cut up and went left. Okay, so and it's easy to do, so I apologize. But till next week, you guys come back and join us. Let us know how you feel, though. It's always accepted, but and appreciated. But sometimes we have a different of opinions and we get emotional or whatever. So I do apologize for that. Come back next week. We're going to have a good conversation. We're going to have real conversations. We're going to support each other. We're going to disagree. We're going to agree to disagree. But until next week, come back Friday at 5. Take care of yourself, love somebody else. Remember to be kind. If you make a mistake, it's okay to say, my bad, I apologize. If you owe somebody an apology, be big enough to give it to them. If you're big enough to do the things that you do, be big enough to apologize and to correct yourself. That's called growth. All right, till next week. Peace.